welcome to Canada-India USA Development Forum and to the Health Forum session number 8. We have been running this Health Forum for the last 2.5 months. This is a series of 12 virtual health sessions supported by the City of Brampton and by several business owners, corporations as well, and private individuals. What we do here is we are bringing together close to 100 experts, doctors, frontline health workers, lawyers, mind, body, wellness, nutrition, mental health, and other experts, as well as regional councillors, city councillors, mayor of Brampton, and several other experts and specialists to discuss various aspects, of life during the pandemic. People and businesses have suffered greatly over the last 17, 18 months. So this is an effort to provide them the valuable information and the resources available as well. Many times people don't know whom to ask, where to go, what resources or what kind of help is available. Sometimes there are issues that they are not comfortable to discuss with other people. So the idea is if we bring together a diverse set of speakers, they may find the answers that they are looking for. As I was saying earlier, these sessions are done on Zoom, of course, and then on Facebook Live. And after the session is over, we do some editing and then post it on all social media. There are 3 separate Facebook pages that we share it on. We also send it to the city as well. It is posted on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on YouTube, on our Canada India Insight YouTube channel as well, and goes to thousands of people on WhatsApp and through several other channels that we try to promote this as well. The forum is also promoted and advertised through other print media. So this is just to give you an idea about this health forum. So today, as you know, is our session number 8. And the topic today is how has the pandemic affected family life and relationships. So before we start and I invite the first speaker, let me give you a quick overview of the organization. Canada-India USA Development Forum. Please go back, Tejas, the first page. Canada-India USA Development Forum, or CIUDF as we call it, is an Ontario, Canada-based not-for-profit organization working to promote bilateral and trilateral relations between Canada, India, and USA. CIUDF organizes events, conferences, and speaker series lectures with prominent corporate and political leaders in all 3 countries for ideas exchange and knowledge sharing. The forum recently opened up for memberships and 28 companies or professionals have joined as members so far, with the goal to raise the membership to 300 or more by December 31st. As members, they also participate, in these activities, and we are also now starting the in-person member meetings and referral services and other assistance that we provide to members. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Canada-India USA Development Forum, Vipul Jani. You can see all our activities on our website, canadaindiausa.developmentforum.com. Here is a list of some of our regular activities that we do. We host a Canada-India Insight Annual Conference, a Canada-India USA Trilateral Conference. We host several business leaders roundtables as well. Several political leaders roundtables with MPs, MPPs, city councillors. Membership expansion is one of the goals, as I just mentioned, to take it to 300, so that everybody can grow together, learn from each other's experiences, knowledge, and also provide help to other members as and when needed. We do several member networking events, virtual so far, and in person starting from next month. We also host a Consul General's roundtable. We host an education forum as well with the presidents, deans, registrars, and key decision makers of prominent colleges and universities all across Canada, then also from India, and also some from the US as well. We are running the Health Forum, which right now we are a part of. We also have a Canada India Insight e-paper or e-publication, and we do several webinars and virtual sessions on current affairs and issues of importance at that particular time. So some of these activities are done in association with our media partner, Impact Media and Events Corporation. So let us now also recognize the support, of our sponsors, because of whom we are able to do this. Sure. So as I mentioned, the Health Forum is supported by City of Brampton's Advance Brampton Fund. And we are thankful to our partner organizations, PCHS Foundation, as well as Suno Canada. The matching funding support has been provided by Truly Financial, Irwin Accounting and Tax Services, Best Ayurved, Process Research or Tech, Nanak Flights, Dentistry on 10, Kotak Personal Injury Law, Tangentia, Cranes Life Sciences, Blue Umbrella, and Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center. So with that, let us invite our first speaker of the day. And Tejas, if you can bring up Kamalji's profile. So our first speaker, Mr. Kamal Bhardwaj. He is the owner and funeral director of Lotus Funeral Homes. Located in Etobicoke, Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center is a full-service funeral home with on-site crematorium. Kamal has a Bachelor of Business Administration with majors in marketing and finance. He is an authority on the funeral industry in GTA and Canada. Kamalji is also a consulting professor at Humber College on this subject and a reputable name in the South Asian community. He is a regular speaker at various South Asian groups and religious community outreach centers, and is personally involved in helping underprivileged families. A keen believer behind the Suno initiative, he has also been at the forefront of helping parents repatriate bodies back to India and other countries on account of suicides, accidents, etc. A keen participant in community outreach programs. He also is director of fundraising for South Asian communities. You can find out more information on Lotus at the website lotusfuneralandcremation.com. Kamalji, I can attest to this because I reached out to you recently, and you have not only agreed to come and speak at a very short notice actually, but also supported us as well for this health forum. So thank you for all that you are doing, and we are so happy and lucky to have you with us. So over to you, sir. As you know, the topic today, how has the pandemic affected family life and relationships? And running a crematorium, I mean, a lot of people have lost lives, unfortunately, over the last 16, 18 months. So I'm sure you have seen, plenty to share with us. Over to you.
Well, thank you for that very nice introduction. Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, everyone. I want to speak about a difficult topic, and I know this is a topic that can be a taboo subject in many cultures, including South Asian, but it's a topic of death, and in particular, how it has impacted families during this pandemic. I own 5 funeral homes and crematoriums throughout Toronto and Southern Ontario. And unfortunately, we have done hundreds of deaths that are due to COVID related deaths. So my perspective is really speaking about how it's impacted these families. And in 2 particular ways. Number one is the financial aspects, and secondly is the grieving process. And keep in mind that it's not we're talking about senior citizens. We've dealt with families where the loved one who's passed away is in their 30s, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s plus. Not only that, but entire families have been lost, from a husband, wife, children, all in the same family. So this is going to be a very difficult thing to talk about, but I hope there's a lot of takeaway from what we're going to talk about. Now, what is interesting that I found throughout this entire pandemic is how vulnerable people really were and how unprepared they were. Because when death comes, it's come so quickly sometimes that people are not ready. And death can occur when, again, people are in their young age with young children, parents pass away, to the seniors. But one thing that I did find that was happening is, in particular, in a financial aspect. So let's talk about the financial impacts first of all. What was a common thing that was finding that was happening is when you have, let's say, a surviving spouse that will come in to make funeral arrangements for their husband or wife that's passed away, what I found was a lack of communication between the two. And what I mean by that is one of the partners in that relationship may have been looking after domestic duties of the house, like the children and the household itself. The second person dealt with the finances, all the investments, where the money was kept, insurance policies, PIN numbers, security passes, all these things. So, God forbid that person passed away who looked after the finances and all the aspects of knowing the investments were. Well, what would happen is the surviving spouse had absolutely no idea where any of this money was, didn't know how to access it, had no idea what to do. Could you imagine the impact now on the financial situation of a family? They don't know where their money is because the only person that knew was the person who passed away, and they never shared that information. So there is a lot of unclaimed money that's left on the table every year for Bank of Canada to access eventually because it's unclaimed. So that was one of the difficult situations when you have a surviving spouse that is desperate now, who maybe their loved one was the breadwinner, they pass away and they don't know where any of the finances are. So one thing that was vulnerable with these situations where is how it impacted financially, not knowing where all this money was. The other thing that I realized too is, especially when it was a young person who passed away with young children, because when you're young, you don't think about death. Maybe when you're older, you're thinking about, oh, maybe a will. Maybe I should talk about having a will and talking about guardianship for my children and things like that. We had situations where it was a young person who had young children and they passed away and they had no will. So it became a fight within even amongst the families, like who's going to be in charge? Because sometimes there was a single person and there was no surviving spouse. Then it became a fight in the family who's going to be in charge of looking after the affairs. And that caused perspective of arguments within families. Not only that, it was even just a process of making decisions, like not knowing what that person who passed away, what they would want for their funeral, because it was never talked about. They were young, they don't talk about these kind of things. But let's get back to the will perspective. Some of these were actually business owners too. So they had a business and with other partners, and there was no succession plan for their businesses. And I saw that happening. So they're again exposed vulnerability when it became to the impact in their own families, because now we have someone owned a business. The business is up in the air now. What's the succession plan for that? Shares of it with partners. Um, the payout for that. Maybe there's multiple people in the family or all children that will take over the business, and there's fights within the family. So again, all these were because there was a lack of understanding on a will for personally and even on business. The other thing were guardianship of children that I saw happening, where there were surviving children. Both the mother and father passed away of COVID, and they had young children. There was no will, there was no guardianship. So the discussion, who's going to look after his children? If they were alive, the parents, and they had a will, they would have had who were their first choice to have their guardian to look after their children. Again, they never had an opportunity to discuss these things. So that was a major impact on some families when it came to young children. Who's going to look after them? Again, difficult situations that were happening. So in a finance thing, we talked a little bit about that, but also I want to talk about the aspect of the grieving process. Well, during this entire pandemic, we know that the government has been imposing a lot of restrictions on how we conduct our lives, how we meet as a family. Even there were times when it was so restricted that we had to stay at home. We couldn't even have extended family or even your own brothers and sisters come to the house. Well, imagine when you have a loss in the family. Let's say your parent died. And keep in mind, a lot of these people who passed away from COVID were actually in the hospital for many, many months, and the family had no access to see them. So when they passed away of COVID, they hadn't seen them in 6 or 8 months. So now they've passed away, and the government's put restrictions on things where people could not gather even together in a household to support each other grieving. So what was happening was that because of this, technology became more prevalent when it came to how to even involve in the grieving process, like FaceTiming and WhatsApp video and things like that. And that's how the people started coming together in groups, because you couldn't be physically hugging. So now you have to do FaceTime, and not only locally, but even around the world. Because keep in mind, flights now became restricted. So people couldn't travel inside the country to attend maybe their funeral. So that became very difficult for families. It became even so restricted that one time the government also said, well, less than 10 people can attend a funeral now. So it became arguments within families, well, who's going to come attend a funeral to support the family? Because the children might have been more than 10, um, and their wives and grandchildren. So it became, well, who's going to be selected to be only the 10 people to come in to attend a funeral? So it impacted in that respect as well. We went through a roller coaster ride of these restrictions where things became a little loosened up and things like that. But again, it had impacts in different ways. So eventually, when they did allow some flights to come in, then they had quarantine restrictions. So let's say someone passed away on a Monday, and we have some family traveling in from out of country the Tuesday. Well, when they arrive, now they're in quarantine for 14 days. So now you have to delay the funeral. So again, this impacted people in not only that, in the religious requirements too, because there are some families from the different communities of South Asian descent that want the funeral within a certain period of time. So now that becomes delayed because of the pandemic and the grieving process. So those were also major impacts that were happening. Now, I had a unique position because I also sit on the Bereavement Authority of Ontario board. I'm a board member appointed by the government. And one of our mandate is we advise the government in making decisions on how it impacts our industry. In other words, you have the provincial guidelines when they come out. Rob Ford comes up with these provincial guidelines, how it has to impact businesses and how they operate. Well, the Bereavement Authority of Ontario is a governing board agency that also regulates industry. So they take Ford's mandates and requirements, and they take that and they use someone like me who's an advisory to them and how it impacts our industry. And now we have to try to come up with a regulation to impact the funeral, like attendance, how we are, controlling our industry with people coming in, and so forth. So I had a unique perspective in trying to advise the registrar, who ultimately makes the decisions, what to do when it comes to funerals and cremations and burials and things like that. So, this was very difficult because I have my own personal beliefs and religious beliefs and impacting families, and I feel for families. But then you're also trying to protect them. You don't want them to get COVID, because there were situations that were happening where the mother passed away, then the father passed away, and the son passed away, and there was one daughter left, and she was too afraid to come to the funeral because the entire family were lost. So our funeral directors at the location became the family because through the Zoom technology, they were live streaming the event. All the family is watching it remotely. They're not there physically because they were too afraid to come. And we would have to conduct the entire funeral for them, representing the family. So, for example, for a Hindu family, we were doing the actual puja. We were doing the puja on behalf of the family who were not there, and we were pressing the button for the cremation for them. So it became such a major responsibility for our organization, our staff, to handle this, because we were representing the family that were not able to be there. Then there became an issue, if they were able to be there, can it be an open casket or a closed casket? There were funeral homes throughout Ontario that their requirement is a closed casket because they did not want to open up a casket if the person who passed away was COVID positive. Now, our organization, we had special treatments that we did on the person who passed away that became safe. So we had open caskets. So we were actually quite different. We were probably one or two in Ontario that were, or very few that would have an open casket because we understood the religious requirements, especially when it came to this is the last time you're going to get to see your loved one. So it was an emotional burden on families, emotional burden on our staff as well, but on the population in general as well when it came to grieving, because you can't grieve traditionally as a family anymore. You're spread out through technology. You cannot come in, so you're using like Zoom to watch things. So people had to enhance their audio and visual capabilities in their funeral homes, to invest in technology to make it a better experience, which is still continuing. I think it's the way of the future now, because what has happened now has now become sort of the way of life of how things are being done. You know, people are wearing masks coming in. All their seats are separated 6 feet apart because it's now become a way of life until essentially when this pandemic is no more, when people are not sick. So it's a way of life right now, and this is how things are going to be for a period of time we don't really completely understand. But this is some of the things that I wanted to talk about, and thank you for listening. I know we're going to have a question and answer period, but I hope you took good value in things that I said and how it impacted families and how lives have changed, and to understand the perspective when it came to funerals, because you know something of death is going to eventually affect everyone in our life. Some people live to an elderly age, some happen when they're young, and it's something that I wish it's something more of a conversation that we can have. I do seminars. I do go around to different groups talking about this thing because we're afraid to talk about it. And when we're afraid to talk about things, we're unprepared. But the pandemic has shown how unprepared we have really been. And death is something has become more of a topic because of a number of deaths that have happened in our community. So it's like, well, we should be prepared now. So it has brought that conversation closer now to people to wanting to talk about. But it's a taboo subject. A lot of people feel if I talk about death, it's going to happen in my family, which is absolutely not true. But for a religious or cultural perspective, people have been afraid to talk about it. But I can tell you a lot of people now pre-arranging funerals now, even in our community, just because they want to be prepared, just like preparing a will, right? That is something that's become more important, and I'm sure lawyers are going to speak about this, but preparing a will is something more on our mind now because of what we have seen globally. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I now turn the back to the host duties. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Kamalji. Actually, that was very insightful. You have actually already addressed my first question, which I prepared for you. But anyway, we'll come back to it a little later. You know, if someone has to leave a bit early, please let me know, because I've got a few questions that I want to ask you afterwards, after your remarks. So Kamalji, you are still with us, right? So then I can move on to the next speaker. And so let us have the individual remarks first. And then I will start with individual questions, starting with Kamalji first, in that order. So let us move to our next speaker. Satwinder, you want to go with Satwinderji? Sure. So our next speaker, Satwinder Khurmei, she is an MSW, RSW, the titles. Is a private practice licensed clinical social worker and a psychotherapist serving clients in and around region of Peel in Ontario. Satwinder has been practicing since 1998 and uses a variety of approaches to address the unique needs of her clients. She offers couple, family, and individual therapy sessions in and around Brampton, Ontario. And for more information, you can visit her website, thethoughts.ca. So over to you, Satwinderji.
पहले तो थैंक यू वेरी मच इस बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक पर आप लोगों ने मुझे जो चांस दिया है बात करने के लिए, और जो इम्पैक्ट जो पेंडेमिक की वजह से हो रहा है, पूरे फैमिलीज जो हैं इसे इस स्ट्रगल में हैं, और मैंने अपने इतने सालों के टाइम में काफी स्ट्रेस, एंजाइटी और डिप्रेशन के केसेस और रिलेशनशिप इश्यूज के केसेस देखे हैं, लेकिन अब जो इस पेंडेमिक की वजह से और जो उसमें जैसे कहते हैं कि बढ़ गए हैं इशू जो हैं और इंक्रीज हो गए हैं, तो वो सारे इशू जो हैं मेरे पास काफी लिस्ट है, जैसे कि एंजाइटी, स्ट्रेस, डिप्रेशन और रिलेशनशिप इश्यूज और पेरेंटिंग हैसल्स जो आ गई हैं, काफी सारी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग्स, मिसकम्युनिकेशन और टू मच स्क्रीन टाइम और कोई रूटीन नहीं होना और ऑल द टाइम जैसे कहते हैं कि फैमिली एक दूसरे के साथ में है, वो अच्छी बात है, लेकिन जो जब उसमें हेल्दी बाउंड्रीज नहीं होती तो उसकी वजह से भी बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं। और काफी सारा जो आइसोलेशन वो हम सब लोगों ने फेस किया और कर रहे हैं। और इसके अलावा जो काफी होपलेसनेस आई है और इनसिक्योरिटी, इन लाइक अनसर्टेनिटी है, और बहुत सारे जो सेलिब्रेशंस फैमिली और फ्रेंड्स के हैं वो लोग हम सब मिस कर रहे हैं। तो ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, ये लिस्ट तो बहुत लंबी है और हम सबको पता है, लेकिन मैं एज ए थेरेपिस्ट मुझे लगता है कि शायद मैं इससे उभर कर कि इसे हम कैसे कोप कर सकते हैं, कैसे इन चीजों से बाहर निकल सकते हैं, उसके लिए मैं शायद अपने क्लाइंट्स की इतने टाइम से यही मदद करती आई हूँ कि क्या है इस पेंडेमिक से सीखने के लिए और क्या चीज हम सीख सकते हैं, और वो है कनेक्शन। कनेक्शन बिल्कुल हम कहते हैं कि फिजिकल डिस्टेंसिंग बिल्कुल हो गई है, वो हम मानते हैं, लेकिन जो इमोशनल कनेक्शन है वो आज भी बाकी है। आज भी हम अपने परिवार, फ्रेंड्स सबके साथ में, अपने कलीग के साथ में, इस दुनिया के साथ में आज भी हम जुड़ सकते हैं। और इतनी अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे पास है कि वो हमें इन सब चीजों के लिए कितना हेल्पफुल है हमारे लिए। और ये टाइम जो है हमें सिखा रहा है ज्यादा से ज्यादा सेल्फ कंपैशन और ज्यादा से ज्यादा अपने आप को प्यार करना, अपने परिवार, अपने फ्रेंड्स को प्यार देना, नरिश करना, ज्यादा से ज्यादा पेरेंट्स को अपने बच्चों के साथ में और परिवार एक दूसरे के साथ में जो है वो बिताने का जो है ये समय जो है हमें ये सब चीजें सिखा रहा है। और हम इस चीजों से ही अपनी मेंटल हेल्थ को कितना अच्छा रख सकते हैं, वो ही मेरा आज का जो मेन जो चीज है एज ए थेरेपिस्ट जो मैं सिखाना चाहती हूँ और सिखाती हूँ अपने क्लाइंट्स को, कि ये मेंटल हेल्थ है क्या, ये करती क्या है। तो मेंटल हेल्थ का मतलब है कि जहां पर हम अपनी सोच और अपनी फीलिंग्स को जब एक साथ रखते हुए अपनी लाइफ के जितनी भी हार्डशिप्स हैं उससे बहुत आराम से कामली हम उसे डील करते जाएं, और एक ब्यूटीफुल सा कनेक्शन जो है अपनी थॉट्स और फीलिंग्स के साथ में जब रख के चलते हैं कामली, ये है मेंटल हेल्थ। और क्या होता क्या है जब हम अपनी मेंटल हेल्थ को ठीक नहीं रखते या मेंटल हेल्थ जब पुअर होती है तो उसकी निशानी क्या है, क्योंकि ये क्वेश्चन बहुत बार आता है कि कितनी बार पता ही नहीं चलता कि मेंटल हेल्थ जो है वो क्या इशू मुझे है भी है या किसी परिवार में किसी को है भी है। तो उसका सबसे बड़े साइन तो काफी सारी दिखाई देते हैं, लेकिन ये है कि छोटी छोटी बातों पे जो इरिटेशन होती है, छोटी छोटी बातों पे स्ट्रेस ले लेना, या छोटी छोटी बातों पे गुस्सा जो आता है और बहुत सारी टायर्डनेस होती है, ये सब चीजें जो है दिखाती है कि हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ जो है वो ठीक नहीं है। हमारा जो तो ये कैसे पता चलता है कि क्या है मेंटल हेल्थ, कैसे पता चले कि मैं सही मेंटल हेल्थ को रखे हूँ या मेरी जो वेलबींग है वो बहुत स्ट्रांग है। तो उसमें यह है कि एक शब्द है जो बहुत ही स्ट्रांग है जिसे हम कहते हैं मेंटल रिजिलियंस। और जो हमारी टॉलरेंस पावर है वो बहुत बैलेंस में, ना कि बहुत ज्यादा और कम, लेकिन बैलेंस रहे, जिससे कि हम अपनी फीलिंग्स को और अपनी सोच को साथ में लेते हुए प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व कर सकें, और जिसमें हम चाहे जो जिंदगी के हर जो भी मोमेंट है उसे हम बहुत ही आसानी के साथ में और बहुत ही प्यार के साथ में उसे हम झेल सकें और इंजॉय भी कर सकें। जैसे कि कोई भी कितनी भी जैसे कहते हैं एग्जाम्पल दूंगी, कितना भी कोई मस्ती कर रहा हो, जैसे कहते हैं बच्चे मस्ती करते हैं और पेरेंट्स जो है जो काम कर रहे हैं या वो किसी काम के अंदर है और उस वक्त पेरेंट्स का कामली उस बच्चे को देखना, उनके पर्सपेक्टिव समझना और उन्हें एक्सेप्ट करना कि ये बच्चे हैं और इन्हें हमारी जरूरत है, इन्हें अटेंशन की जरूरत है। तो उस हिसाब के साथ में जब पेरेंट्स और बच्चे का एक दूसरे के साथ में कनेक्शन होता है कि उनकी फीलिंग्स को समझते हुए, तो वो है मेंटल रिजिलियंस, वो है मेंटल हेल्थ जो है वो इतनी पॉजिटिवली हम उस चीज को देख पा रहे हैं। तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल जो हमेशा पेरेंट्स या फैमिलीज जो हैं या हस्बैंड वाइफ करते हैं कि हर छोटी बात पे एक दूसरे को जिसे कहते हैं कि चिल्लाना और लाइक येलिंग करनी। पर जो सबसे बड़ी बात है कि अगर हम कंपैशन को अपनी प्रैक्टिस में लेकर आए, काइंडनेस को अपनी रोज की जिंदगी में और अपने बिहेवियर में जब हम लेकर आते हैं, तो हमारे थॉट्स जो हैं वो बहुत ही पॉजिटिव और काम रहते हैं, और हमारी जो फीलिंग्स है, हमारी इमोशन जो है वो हमारे कंट्रोल में रहते हैं। और ये काइंडनेस सिर्फ ये नहीं कहती है कि दूसरों के लिए, लेकिन ये सबसे पहले आपको हील करती है और फिर आपके आसपास के हर रिलेशनशिप को हील करती है। तो ये जो है ये मेंटल हेल्थ, जो सेल्फ कंपैशन और ये सब की जो मैं बात कर रही हूँ, इसके लिए बहुत ब्यूटीफुल ब्यूटीफुल टूल्स जो हैं वो है। लेकिन उससे पहले जाऊंगी कि ये सेल्फ कंपैशन में एग्जांपल दूंगी कि होता क्या है ये एक्चुअली, किस तरीके से हमें पता चले कि ये सेल्फ कंपैशन को हम प्रैक्टिस कैसे कर सकते हैं। इसे इस तरीके से लीजिए कि जैसे कि हम पेरेंट्स या कोई भी इंडिविजुअल पर्सन जब हमारे घर में, परिवार में, फ्रेंड्स में जब कोई थोड़ा सा भी सिक हो जाता है या उसे कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होती है, तो हम किस तरीके से भाग के जाते हैं। हमें लगता है कि हम इसके लिए क्या कर दें, अपना सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के हम उसके लिए उसकी मदद करते हैं, उसे आराम देने की कोशिश करते हैं, उसकी हर तरीके से उसको केयर करते हैं कि उसकी हर प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व कर दें। बस उसी तरीके से ये सेल्फ कंपैशन को हमने अपनी अपनी जिंदगी के अंदर भी लेके आना है। और बहुत सारे इस लंबे पीरियड में मैं यही सुनती आई हूँ अपने क्लाइंट्स के थ्रू कि हम फिर से दूसरों का कर लेते हैं, अपने फैमिली फ्रेंड्स को हम बहुत अच्छे से केयर कर पाते हैं, लेकिन बहुत बार और 99% जो क्लाइंट्स का मेरे पास ये आता है कि अपनी केयर उनकी नहीं हो पाती। तो ये पेंडेमिक ये भी सिखाने की कोशिश कर रहा है कि अपने आप को प्यार करना शुरू करें। बहुत गो 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 वाली लाइफ को जी लिया है, अब थोड़ा सा अपने आप को भी प्यार करें। और इस मोमेंट को जो मोमेंट पता नहीं कब चला जाए, हम सब इस इनसिक्योरिटी और अनसर्टेनिटी में है, लेकिन जब हम हर मोमेंट को इतने प्यार से एक्सेप्ट करके और उस मोमेंट को एंजॉय करते हैं, तो उस मोमेंट में हम अपनी जिंदगी को जी लेते हैं। दैट्स अ सेल्फ कंपैशन पार्ट का बहुत ही अच्छा पार्ट है कि अपने साथ आप काइंड और हों। तो इसके क्या क्या टूल्स हैं और क्या हम इस मेंटल जो वेलनेस है और मेंटल वेलबींग है, इसे हम कैसे बना सकते हैं और क्या कर सकते हैं जिससे कि हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ जो है वो स्टेबल रहे और अच्छी बनी रहे हमेशा की तरह। जैसे हम दूसरी अपनी फिजिकल हेल्थ की केयर करते हैं, तो मेंटल हेल्थ के लिए हम क्या कुछ कर सकते हैं। तो ये मेंटल जो रिजिलियंस है उसे हम उसके लिए क्या क्या टूल्स जो हैं वो मैं यहाँ थोड़ा सा शेयर करना चाहूंगी। पहली चीज है रीचिंग आउट, जैसे कि कनेक्शन। जितना ज्यादा हम सब समझते हैं कि हम सबको एक दूसरे का जब तक हम एक दूसरे से मिलते नहीं, हम एक दूसरे से बातें नहीं करते हैं, तो हमें एक जो ताकत है वो मिलती है अपने फैमिली, अपने फ्रेंड के साथ में। तो अभी तो ये मौका और भी ज्यादा अच्छे से हमारे पास आ गया। बहुत सारे परिवार हैं जहाँ पर बच्चे घर से पढ़ रहे हैं और परिवार जो मतलब पेरेंट्स जो हैं वो घर से काम कर रहे हैं। तो अभी तो ये जो इमोशनल कनेक्शन है वो तो बहुत ज्यादा नजदीकी तरीके से हम उसको कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं अपने परिवार के साथ में, उनके साथ ज्यादा से ज्यादा कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं। और दूसरे, जैसे मैंने बोला कि टेक्नोलॉजी जो है ना, उसने हमारा बहुत अच्छा साथ दिया है कि हम उसके थ्रू किसी से भी कभी भी कैसे भी जो है अपनी बातचीत और कनेक्ट रह सकते हैं। दूसरी चीज है जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ में रूटीन का बहुत बड़ा पार्ट है। आप हम सब समझते हैं कि रूटीन हमारी लाइफ में एक तो डिसिप्लिन तो रखता ही है, लेकिन हमारी ओवरऑल फिजिकल और मेंटल हेल्थ को बहुत अच्छा रखता है। अगर हम जैसे कहें कि अगर रूटीन में हम जब ध्यान रखें कि अगर हमारा जो टाइमिंग है किसी भी चीज को करने का, उसे हम जब बरकरार रखते हैं, तो उससे हमारे अंदर एक प्रोडक्टिविटी, एक सेटिस्फेक्शन जो है वो रहती है। बहुत बार मेरी क्लाइंट के थ्रू सुनने में आया कि उन्हें कितनी बार लगता है कि वो प्रोडक्टिव नहीं है। और क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि कोई भी अपने दिन का डिसिप्लिन नहीं किया हुआ, उन्होंने कोई रूटीन नहीं बनाया हुआ। और जब वो रूटीन बना लेते हैं अपनी लाइफ में तो काफी चीजें उनकी जब सुलझने लग जाती हैं तो उनसे उनकी एंजाइटी और जो स्ट्रेस है वो भी कम हो जाता है। और क्योंकि वो कनेक्शन भी बना के रखे हुए हैं और बाकी अपने जो उनके काम काज है वो भी। तो रूटीन में सबसे बड़ी बात और है, जैसे कि अभी पर्सनल और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ जो है वो काफी मिक्स हो गई है। तो इसमें जैसे कि मेरा एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टूल है, टेक्निक में अपने क्लाइंट्स को सिखाती हूँ कि पहले हमने अपनी लाइफ को 2 हिस्सों में बांटा हुआ था कि वर्क लाइफ थी और होम लाइफ थी, पर ज्यादातर वर्क लाइफ थी। लेकिन अगर इसे हम 3 हिस्सों में अपने दिन को बांट लेते हैं तो आप देखेंगे कि आप अपनी पर्सनल अपनी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ को दोनों को बहुत ही अच्छे तरीके से निभा सकते हैं। लेकिन उससे पहले जरूरी है कि 3 हिस्सों में कि मी टाइम, वर्क टाइम और होम टाइम, अगर आप इसे 3 हिस्सों में बांट लेते हैं तो आप देखेंगे कि आप अपना ध्यान भी रख पा रहे हैं। जैसे कि मैंने पहले बोला कि सेल्फ कंपैशन, आप रोज अपना ध्यान भी रख पा रहे हैं और उसके साथ साथ में आप अपनी प्रोफेशनल और अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ को भी इंजॉय कर पा रहे हैं। तो रूटीन के बहुत ज्यादा फायदे हैं। देखिए, इसमें आपने हर दिन अपने लिए जो समय बिताना है, अपने लिए का मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप अपनी फैमिली अपने परिवारों को साइड में रख दें। लेकिन जैसे मैंने पहले बोला कि अगर आप मी टाइम एंजॉय करते हैं, आप हर दिन अपने लिए कुछ ऐसा करते हैं जिससे कि आपको खुशी मिले, आपके अंदर ताकत आए, और फिर आप देखिए कि आप अपने परिवार को भी बहुत अच्छे से जो है समय दे सकते हैं, एक अच्छी इमोशनल कनेक्शन उनके साथ में बना सकते हैं और अपनी हर प्रॉब्लम्स को जो है वो सही तरीके से, क्योंकि आपने मी टाइम के अंदर अपने अंदर एक ताकत भरी है और उस मी टाइम में आप कुछ भी जो आपको सही लगता है, कुछ लोग वॉक पे जाते हैं, कुछ लोग योगा करते हैं, कुछ लोग लाइक जैसे कुछ भी अपनी फ्रेंड से बात करते हैं, कोई म्यूजिक सुनते हैं, एनीथिंग जो आप करना चाहते हैं। दूसरी चीज है जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, हम सब ने इस चीज को सुना कि पॉजिटिव जो है सेल्फ टॉक या पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशंस जो है वो हमें बहुत साथ देती हैं। हम जैसे कि कभी भी कोई हमारा फैमिली या फ्रेंड्स जो हो, जब वो निराश हो जाता है या किसी चीज से वो नर्वस होता है या उसे कोई ना कोई डिप्रेशन है या कुछ भी, वो किसी भी हार्ड टाइम से गुजरता है, तो हम क्या कहते हैं? हम उसे कहते हैं, अरे यू कैन डू इट, आप कर सकते हैं। हम उन्हें हौसला देते हैं। तो ये जो मोटिवेशनल कोट होते हैं ये हमें हमेशा ही ताकत देते हैं। हम इसे थोड़ा बहुत कह सकते हैं अपनी स्पिरिचुअलिटी के साथ में जोड़ सकते हैं कि कितने ही लोग हैं जो कोई अच्छी बुक्स पढ़ते हैं या ये होली बुक्स पढ़ते हैं, उनके साथ उन्हें ताकत मिलती है। और उसी तरीके से सेल्फ टॉक जो है वो हमें किसी भी तरीके की नेगेटिव फीलिंग्स आ रही है या नेगेटिव थॉट्स के हम साइकिल में चले गए हैं और किसी भी टाइप के हमें एंजाइटी स्ट्रेस हो रही है, उस वक्त अगर हमने सेल्फ टॉक और ऐसे कुछ अफर्मेशन जो यूज करे जिससे कि हमें ताकत मिले, और ऐसे ये टेक्निक जो है ये बहुत ही फायदेमंद है और ये हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ का ध्यान रखती है और इवन हमारी फिजिकल हेल्थ का भी, कि हम उसके लिए भी अवेयर होते हैं कि अरे मुझे अपना ध्यान रखना है, मुझे बिल्कुल डॉक्टर के पास जाना है। सो इट्स अ रिमाइंडर तो कि हम अपने आप को कितना जानते हैं और हम अपने आप को कितना प्यार करते हैं और मेरी खुद की फीलिंग जो है वो कितनी मैटर करती है, मेरी हेल्थ जो है वो कितनी मैटर करती है। तो ये सारी चीजें जिस तरीके से हम दूसरों को करते हैं, अपने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली को उनकी वैल्यू उनके सामने रखवाते हैं कि तुम मेरे लिए बहुत जरूरी है, तुम्हारी तबीयत बिल्कुल ठीक हो जाएगी, तो उसी तरीके से हमने जो शब्द हैं ये अफर्मेशन जो है वो अपने लिए भी यूज करने हैं। अभी जो है मेरा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट जो टूल है वो है सेल्फ केयर। और सेल्फ केयर में काफी चीजें आती हैं, काफी सारे जो हम टेक्निक यूज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन उसमें सबसे पहले है ये ट्रायंगल। ये ट्रायंगल जो है ये हमें बताता है कि ये ट्रायंगल अपने आप में तभी पूरा होगा जब हम ये तीनों हिस्सों को दिमाग में रखते हैं और तीनों हिस्सों को अपने रूटीन में लेके आते हैं। तो तीनों हिस्से में है कि फिजिकल मूवमेंट, जो कि सुबह से जैसे ही हम समझिए कि हमारा दिन शुरू होता है और वो फिजिकल मूवमेंट यानी कि थोड़ी बहुत स्ट्रेचिंग एक्सरसाइज, तो मैं क्लाइंट को सबसे पहले बोलती हूँ कि अगर आपने सुबह उठ के अपना बेड भी जो आप बनाते हैं, वो आपकी फिजिकल मूवमेंट जो है वो शुरू हो गई। तो वो भी एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है कि जब आप फिजिकल मूवमेंट को अपनी लाइफ में, अपने दिन में रखते हैं। जैसे कि आजकल सभी लोग कंप्यूटर के सामने, स्क्रीन के सामने बहुत बहुत घंटे बैठे रहते हैं, बच्चे काफी काफी देर बैठे रहते हैं, तो उनके पास जो है कुछ उठने को है नहीं, और जैसे कहें कि बहुत काम है सामने बैठने को, तो थोड़ा थोड़ा बीच में अगर हम ये थोड़ी बहुत फिजिकल मूवमेंट करते रहते हैं, तो इससे हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ, क्योंकि वो डिस्कनेक्शन जो है वो मिलना बहुत जरूरी है जो भी हम काम कर रहे हैं उसके बीच में। और उसके अलावा है कि हेल्दी फूड, अब हम सब जानते हैं कि जो खाना है वो हमारे लिए हमारी ताकत है, कि वो हमारा फ्यूल है। तो अगर हम उसे टाइम टू टाइम, जो हमारा ब्रेकफास्ट, लंच, डिनर है, जैसे कि रूटीन में अगर हमने उसको ध्यान में रखा, तो आप देखेंगे कि आपकी मेंटल एंड फिजिकल हेल्थ दोनों बहुत अच्छी रहती है। और तीसरी चीज है स्लीपिंग का, क्योंकि सोने के लिए, जो सोना है वो हम सब के लिए इट्स लाइक जैसे कि हमारी गाड़ी को सर्विसिंग टाइम चाहिए होता है, हमारे किसी भी जो हम कहें कि फोन है, कंप्यूटर है, सबको एक चार्जिंग टाइम चाहिए होता है। तो स्लीपिंग जो है वो एक चार्जिंग टाइम है, और स्लीपिंग का भी एक टाइम पैटर्न इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, कि आप हर दिन अपना जो 8 घंटे हैं वो किस तरीके से सेट रखते हैं। उसका बहुत ज्यादा मेंटल हेल्थ पर इफेक्ट पड़ता है कि अगर आपने टाइमिंग को सही नहीं रखा। उसके उसके बाद में है कि काफी चीज जो है कि जो खाना है वो हमारा जो है वो, जैसे मैंने बताया कि तीनों फूड होने चाहिए, उसका ध्यान रखना, और इन बिटवीन आपने स्नैक का टाइम जो है वो भी रखना है। जो स्लीप जो है, जैसे मैंने अभी बताया कि अगर आप टाइमिंग सेट रखते हैं तो उससे बहुत अच्छा हमारे मेंटल और फिजिकल हेल्थ पर इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है। और एक्सरसाइज में आप कोई भी, कितने हमारे पास तरीके हैं अपनी फिजिकल मूवमेंट्स के लिए, चाहे हम दिन में काफी टाइम स्क्रीन के सामने हैं, लेकिन हम इन बिटवीन 5-10 मिनट और 15 मिनट बिल्कुल निकाल सकते हैं। बहुत सारे आइडियाज आप लोग स्क्रीन पर देख रहे होंगे, कुछ भी हम यूज कर सकते हैं और अपने आप को स्क्रीन से थोड़ा सा दूर रख सकते हैं। इसके बाद में कि हम सब जानते हैं कि हमारी जो मेंटल हेल्थ है, या जो उसमें जब जब बोरियत आ जाती है, जिसे हम कहें कि जब हम बिल्कुल एक ही जगह पर बैठे हुए हैं, चाहे वो स्क्रीन के सामने बैठे हैं या फोन पर बैठे हैं या अपनी कुछ भी हम अब टेबल पर काफी देर काम कर रहे हैं, तो हमारा जो माइंड है वो ब्लॉक हो जाता है। लेकिन अगर हम अपनी डे टू डे लाइफ के अंदर है कि थोड़ा सा हम आर्ट को, जैसे कि आर्ट को अगर हम टाइम देते हैं, वो हमें ताकत देती है, क्योंकि आर्ट का जो कनेक्शन है वो कलर्स के साथ में। हम सब जानते हैं कि जो भी कोई ओकेजन, फैमिली ओकेजन या फेस्टिवल्स होते हैं, उसमें कलर्स होते हैं, और कलर्स ही जो है वो हमें अट्रैक्ट करते हैं, और कलर्स जो है वो हमारे सेंसेस को जब वो खुश करते हैं, और जब हमारे सेंसेस खुश होते हैं तो उनसे हम जो है अच्छा फीलिंग रखते हैं, हमारे थॉट्स जो हैं वो बहुत अच्छे आते हैं। तो इसमें बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज कर सकते हैं। उसके आगे जो है वो है जर्नलिंग। जर्नलिंग जो है वो एक ऐसी चीज है जिससे हम कहें कि आपको सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन करने का टाइम मिलता है। जब आप दिन में किसी भी समय पर, जैसे मैं सबको एडवाइस करती हूँ कि आप प्लीज सोने से पहले या दिन में भी कोई भी टाइम पर अगर आप जर्नलिंग जो है वो कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि इट्स अ वेरी गुड सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन टाइम जो है वो आप कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि आप बाहर जाने से पहले, या हम दिन में कितनी बार अपने आप को जब ड्रेसअप होते हैं तो अपने आप को मिरर में देखते हैं, तो जर्नलिंग भी एक सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन है जिससे आप अपनी थॉट्स को, अपनी फीलिंग्स को जान सकते हैं। उसके आगे है कि बी ग्रेटफुल। जैसे मैंने बताया कि कंपैशन पार्ट जो है ये पेंडेमिक हमें सिखा रहा है, जितना ज्यादा हम अपने दिन में जो है ग्रेटफुल होते हैं, और उसकी जर्नल पे हम लिस्ट भी करते हैं कि हम किन की चीजों के लिए ग्रेटफुल है। जो खोआ है हमने, वो जो चीजें हमने लॉस कर दी हैं वो तो हमने कर दी हैं, हम वो पीछे नहीं लेके आ सकते, लेकिन जो आज हमारे पास है वो जो चीज है वो हमें काफी, जब हम ग्रेटफुल होते हैं तो वो हमें काफी पॉजिटिव एनर्जी जो है वो देती है। उसके अलावा आगे है कि जब भी आप बोर होते हैं, जो मेंटल हेल्थ में है कि आप जब बोरियत आपके पास टाइम है लेकिन आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, या आप बोर हो रहे हैं, आपको पता नहीं क्या करना है। तो मैंने अपनी वेबसाइट पे काफी बोर्डम की एक अच्छी लिस्ट डाली हुई है, तो आपके पास भी बहुत सारे ऐसे आइडियाज होंगे जिससे आप अपने माइंड को, अपने आप को बिजी रख सकते हैं एंड खुश रख सकते हैं। उसके अलावा है कि हम सब जानते हैं कि पॉजिटिव जो होना है वो अपने आप में एक ताकत, हम कितनी बार कहते हैं कि अपने माइंड को जब हम पॉजिटिव रखते हैं, माइंड सेट हमारा पॉजिटिव रहता है, तो हमें किसी भी टाइप की प्रॉब्लम्स से हम निकल सकते हैं, उसको फेस कर सकते हैं। तो प्रैक्टिस जो है वो माइंडफुलनेस की जो आगे का वो है, वो हमें जो है वो पॉजिटिव रखने में हमें मदद करता है। तो माइंडफुलनेस की प्रैक्टिस में आप डीप ब्रीदिंग कर सकते हैं, मेडिटेशन कर सकते हैं, योगा कर सकते हैं। तो माइंडफुलनेस जो है वो हमें अवेयर कराता रहता है कि हमें आज में रहना है, और हमारा जो आज है वो बहुत खूबसूरत है और वो मेरे पास है। तो मेरा आज में रहना और प्रेजेंट रहना जो है वो बहुत अच्छी चीज है। और बहुत सारे रिसोर्सेज जो हैं मैं अपने स्लाइड में दे रही हूँ, अगर किसी को भी कभी भी ये टूल्स के अलावा अगर और भी जरूरत पड़ती है तो वो बिल्कुल ये टूल्स जो आपके पास जो इंफॉर्मेशन है वो यूज कर सकते हैं। उसके अलावा कि अगर फिर भी लगता है कि हम अपने आप से जो है अपनी मदद नहीं कर पा रहे और हमारी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो हमसे सॉर्टेड आउट नहीं हो रही और समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि क्या करें, और आपको कोई चाहिए बात करने के लिए, तो प्लीज आप थेरेपी और किसी प्रोफेशनल से बात करें। वो आपको सही राह देके आपको रास्ता दिखाएंगे। तो मेरी इंफॉर्मेशन जो है वो मैंने स्क्रीन पर डाली है, अगर कोई भी मदद लेना चाहे। मेरा YouTube चैनल भी है, उसे भी आप सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं और उसका लिंक मैंने यहाँ पे डाल दिया है। थैंक यू सो मच आप सबका मेरे कुछ ब्यूटीफुल टिप्स और टेक्निक्स को सुनने के लिए और यहाँ बुलाने के लिए। थैंक यू सो मच वंस अगेन।
Thank you, Satvinder ji. That was very helpful, and I am sure कई बार ऐसी चीजें होती है which are very obvious, but we still ignore them. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, right in front of your eyes, and we still don't see it. तो सबको पता है how important is to eat well, sleep well, exercise, social connections. ये सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो वैसे तो सबको पता ही है, but they still have to be reminded again and again, by people, professionals, by everybody, by other people around them. So it's a good reinforcement. Thank you for that. And so now we will go to our third and last speaker for the day, Harminder Dhillon, and then we will have a brief Q&A session as well. Tejas, all right, here we go. Our next speaker, Mr. Harminder Dhillon, he is a graduate of Osgood Hall Law School. Harminder S. Dhillon practices primarily in the field of family law, and he keeps the cultural context front and center while arguing and settling issues involving custody, access, etc. He is deeply engaged with community and working for expanding democracy. Mr. Harminder Dhillon is also a former member of the Ontario Review Board. He is a member of and fully engaged with Peel Law Association, ensuring legal issues faced by South Asian community are attended to. He is the founder of Engage Peel, a group dedicated to increasing civic engagement in Peel. He is also a member of the policy committee for the Ontario Liberal Party. He writes poetry in Punjabi as well. Mr. Dhillon was awarded the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Award in 2012. And to find out more about his work, you can visit dhillonlaw.ca. So over to you, Harminder ji.
Thank you, Vipul ji and Tejas, and thanks for the invitation. I didn't prepare any presentation, and I really enjoyed the two presentations from Satvinder and Kamal. I would just share random thoughts and random observations that I had during the pandemic. I think Satvinder mentioned the mental health. I think that's the biggest component that nobody expected, least of them me. And I don't think we still appreciate the full impact of mental health impact of the pandemic isolation and other measures that were taken, especially on the younger children who were not able to go to school, and also the seniors who were sort of socially isolated, and because they were cut off. The people in the middle, the adults, the working adults, they somehow can manage. They are capable, but I think those two segments, the children and the seniors, they were the most at risk, and I think we would be trying to understand the impact in a long way. For me, it was a sort of eye-opening because I belong to the middle category, that I had a job, I had an office to go to. I, in fact, since the 15th of March, when the pandemic arrived in Canada, I have not taken a single day off. So I have been in my office every day. It's a law office, so it fell under the essential services. And also we could not afford to shut down because we practice real estate, and the real estate transaction was still continuing because the land registry was open. So my impacts on me are sort of in a, probably I would say minor category, but I obviously had to find them. But what I found out was the seniors, because most of our seniors have their own routines. Usually they go to some sort of a community gathering. I have my father, who is 83-year-old. He lives with me, and his routine, he used to go to Gurdwara almost every day, 5 days a week, and spend 2 to 3 hours. And when the pandemic came, that channel of his socialization and interpersonal engagement got shut down. And the impact of that on him was something so dramatic that even I was surprised, even though he lives with me and you do not see the micro gradual changes, but I saw the impact on him. I think my father, and I think that applies to a lot of seniors, he probably aged 5 years in the last 1 year. And when I say aged, from both physically and mentally, his mental health, it was a challenge to entertain. And also physically, I sort of remember when he came from India. In fact, he came from India on one of the last days before the flight ban kicked in. And his facial expression, his bodily, his mobility, his ability to work and walk, they all sort of suffered due to the pandemic. That was quite an eye-opener. I was not prepared for that. And the governments didn't prepare for us. Our community was not ready for it. That was my biggest eye-opener. I do not have the school-going children in the house, so I obviously cannot comment. But I hear from other family members and friends how difficult it has been for the children to be cooped up inside the house for almost a year and a half, and how many long-lasting mental health impact for bruises it might leave. On me, on my business, the business that people ran, obviously it had a huge impact. Law office is also, people have to come, you have to meet people, and obviously we could not do that. I had not even heard of the Zoom until the pandemic came, and I was forced to invent those technological solutions, just like any other businesses. That's something that's going to last with us, and in fact, it's probably a positive change we can conduct our meetings and seminars and without the need for travel. So business, I think they were hit hard, and I realized that many businesses, including my own, had no plan B for such a situation, because I had no memory of anything close to this happening in my 35 years in Canada. So that is some eye-opener that, and now everyone agrees that this COVID was first, but definitely not the last one. And another virus, just like COVID, is around the corner. It's just a matter of time, whether we get hit in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. And because if you realize, look back at the SARS and those avian flus, there has been a wave of them, and they show up. Each new wave is more sort of deadly and fatal, and also highly contagious. So that's just the evolution. So each new wave of them will be coming, it will be more impactful than the previous one. So I just don't even want to think what could be more powerful than the COVID. It has been almost 2 years and we still haven't, our economy haven't recovered, our personal lives have not recovered, and our business lives have not recovered. So it's really, really traumatic. And I think Kamal mentioned regarding the wills, that's a sort of sad part or a necessary part. And I got many calls when the pandemic came. People, even though I was not meeting the people in those days, and they would be very upfront. So-and-so in my family suffered or died, and can you make a will? Can you sign it over the Zoom? And on average, I would say the people, the number of wills we make in our office since the pandemic came, I would say it has tripled. If you are making 100 in a year, now we are making 300 in a year. So it is something that we do not talk about because we never think death will come to us or affect our families, but it does. And this was the one realization that happened. There are many other, and obviously the estate planning after that, because a lot of people died and they had wills or no wills, and then the families were left with how to deal with it. One thing that I did not realize I would say, I am not a senior citizen, I'm not a young, so I'm in the middle category, healthy young males. And then you sometimes take things a little too granted. But even though I had a full routine or something like a routine going on, but still the mental health challenge was too great. And I used to go to gym, the gym got shut down, and I could struggle what to do with this one. I took up walking and jogging. It took a long time because those things take a longer time. Walking takes longer. You can't do in 5 minutes. It needs to be half an hour, 45 minutes. But eventually the realization sat in that how difficult and how necessary this one is. So last year we started walking, and I have been walking almost around 4 to 5 kilometers every day. It's now close to 1.5 years. And even if the pandemic goes away, I'm not going back to gym. I think I discovered, like many other people or thousands of other people, how wonderful these simple activities like walking are. You discover the neighborhood, you walk with the friends, you discover your own community, you pick your own time. I can go on and on, and how beneficial it is from the physical health and from the mental health. So that was sort of my discovery. I had always underestimated walking. I used to jog, run for 12K. So I looked down upon walking as something only seniors do, because I thought it is not very invigorating for your body. But I think I was surprised how wrong my understanding of walking was. And now there's a whole body of articles in the mainstream newspapers on this same realization, how people have discovered, and how easy it is to incorporate and how beneficial it is. One thing that I definitely want to talk about, or it struck me, and I in fact talked to Tejas a little bit about this one, is the lack of resources the South Asian community had. Our community is very vibrant. It's relatively young in Canada, but sad part of that dawned upon me that our community have done wonderful in building businesses. We saw Kamal, who runs a big chain of funeral homes, and there are many other very successful businesses. What sort of struck me was how little effort and resources we have put towards developing the community resources. We are pretty good at our individual levels, at our own family levels. Our own social commitment hardly goes beyond building new religious places. There is probably no period of 6 months when we don't build a new Gurdwara, a new temple, new mosque, but there is nothing called a community center. these religious places do play some role, but ultimately their primary role is not being a community hub. Their primary role is just to sort of cater to your religious and spiritual needs. And we are such a huge community and very prosperous community and a politically very powerful community. And I felt really sad we do not have a single community center. Almost all communities have community centers here where people can go, they can meet, they can chat, seniors can go, they can spend some time. There could be mental health resources, there could be educational resources. So it really, really hit me hard, and I felt definitely sad, and I shared with a lot of my friends and people in politics as well. So I hope if the South Asian community can learn at least one thing, that we are a community, we are not a collection of individuals, and also we are not a Hindu community or a Sikh community or a Muslim community or a Gujarati community or a Tamil community. There is something bigger than that that binds us together, our culture, our food, our music, and our entertainment. And if we could come together at the level of the South Asian community and build some resources, community center being one of them, that could be sort of a good, result that may come from an otherwise very tragic and very sad pandemic. So I think that's pretty much the time I had and my thoughts on it. Thank you so much again for inviting me. It's a really wonderful thing you're doing, and I hope you keep it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arbinderji. That was, I must say, very heartfelt remarks. And, you know, the earlier part of your comments must have made Satyinderji very happy. When you talked about walking and connecting and finding your neighborhood, you know, I'm pretty sure Satyinderji very happy to know about that. In terms of the second part of your comments, you know, regarding this building of a center for the community and whatnot, you will be happy to know that we are putting something very similar together. And we will be formally announcing it next month. So I would love to take it up and discuss it further with you after the session, you know. So let's take it up for next week. And with that, the individual remarks are now done. So I will start the Q&A session, and Tejas can always come in and ask any question as well. So I will ask Kamalji first. There are three questions for you. So we'll keep the answers also brief so that then I can go to the other speakers. The first question I had, you have already almost answered it, but I will still ask it anyway. During the pandemic, I mean, as we all discussed, we have seen deaths of family members for many, many families. And as you mentioned, many times they were not allowed to even see their parents or their, you know, family members in a long-term care home or elsewhere. In the last moments also, you know, in other countries also, we have seen people being cremated without even their family members being informed, or even they're not aware of how they were cremated, where they were cremated. So do you think this creates permanent damage for the people, you know, being left behind?
No, absolutely. There's going to be, you know, emotional effects and, you know, maybe perhaps traumatic effects. Little difference between Ontario and the rest of the world, because Ontario, I mean, first of all, there is a legal next of kin and, you know, family present. And so we're a little different than India. India was a little different in the sense that family member didn't even know and this and that. It doesn't work this way here. I'm obviously people, the immediate next of kin and family members are involved in the funeral process, right? And they are able to come in, but during the earlier times when it was restricted, we were reduced to numbers. But the effect of those unable to attend, yes, there's going to be some emotional effect because perhaps they weren't there physically to see their loved one because they couldn't travel in, for example, or maybe they just physically couldn't come there because they were isolating because they were in the same household that had COVID. Everybody else, other family members, maybe distant family members, were able to come to the funeral because they were not in the isolation. So the immediate was isolation, so they couldn't come. So they felt guilt that they couldn't be there for the last moment, for the final rites, and even starting the funeral process. So things like that are, you know, impacting people emotionally. Absolutely. There are counseling services available. I'm involved in some, you know, Grieving Families of Ontario, for example, and they do even speak Hindi as well. They do have other languages they speak as part of their counseling sessions they have, or people have suffered loss, and they specifically deal with counselors who have, you know, dealing with people who have suffered loss, right? So there are services available to help through the grieving process. One thing you have to be very careful when it comes to grieving process is these people who have suffered loss is, you know, there can be some effects on them physically. It can manifest into things where people are drinking. People can be taking drugs. You know, it's just how they're dealing, coping with things. So these families have to be able to recognize these things that maybe they're impacting in such a way that they may need it. Professional assistance, like someone like Satwinder can come and help them as well. So it's very important that people watch the family members that they believe are going through some emotional trauma or something to see if they're not themselves, because this can manifest in ways that can actually harm them, right? Lack of sleep, things like that are normal grief reactions, but complicated grief reactions are the ones that can manifest and physically harm somebody through like drinking or drugs, or, you know, become something physically that can affect them.
Sure. So the second question for you is sending bodies of students, you know, and others to India, which you have helped many actually with that process. So that question is multiple parts actually. How difficult was that process? You know, it was not just kind of sending, you know, a person's body.
Yes.
In many cases, it was COVID related.
Yes.
So that must have made it very, very difficult as well, you know, in terms of the following the protocols and whatnot.
Yeah.
So how difficult was that process, number one? And number two, has that brought the community together? Because I have heard a lot of instances and cases, you know, where people have reached out to help, you know, to fund it, to support it, provide referrals, those kind of things.
Yes.
So has it even provided a reason for the community to, you know, hang together,
Yeah.
hang tight?
Well, okay, so I'm going to answer your second question first, right? You're talking about
Okay.
community. Some of these cases are high profile. When they're high profile, they tend to bring people together more unified in their helping. So I'll give you an example. Just recently, that Punjabi boy in Halifax was murdered, right? Or allegedly murdered. Now, we were the funeral home that went to Halifax. We brought him here and we brought him back to India. So my organization did that. Because I deal with students across Canada, right? With the Indian Consulate, we do across Canada from East Coast to West Coast. So that particular case unified many people because of the horrific crime, alleged crime associated with that passing, very horrific. And so it angered people, it instilled emotion from people. And when you get that, you tend to get more people getting involved and having vigils across the country. And there was even a Peel vigil as well for that boy too. So, you know, and it crossed borders, not only South Asian, but I think just, you know, go it is like just regular people wanting to, you know, solidarity to what's happened. Definitely, when it comes to the students themselves, the student friends get involved, right? They want to support as well. When there's a student death, their immediate friends get involved. Now, a lot of these students, you know, if you're a student in Canada and you're actually a student studying, there are insurances that you have in place that will cover the costs. If as long as you're a full-time student, that will pay for these costs to bring someone back to India, for example, right? If that's the case. And if it's not the case, you know, there's another process involved. But when it comes to the difficulty with families, it's absolutely tragic because, you know, here are these families struggling in India, maybe selling their farm or something like that to send their child to come study here. and it becomes overwhelming for these students. And some of these deaths are, you know, like suicide, or it could be, you know, mental health issue caused it, or external factors, or whatever the case may be. It's very difficult for a family to deal with. And they don't believe it. Sometimes they just don't believe it's happened. They won't accept it. It's a denial. So there is a roller coaster ride with emotions from the immediate family to the students, but it does bring people together through, you know, they want to contribute through these funding programs of, you know, they go on GoFundMe and this and that happen to help not only the funeral costs, if there is something there, but also to give to the family as well, right? Financially to help them as well. Your first question was more dealing with just the difficulty of the COVID, and that was, yes, I mean, look, there was restriction on flights, right? So it became like there are no flights for going out, and now you have to figure out how to get there. There was increasing in flight costs, because when someone is brought into a different country, they're going to go through cargo, right? I hate to make it sound that way, but the body does go through cargo and becomes a cargo issue. So the cargo rates were being inflated like everything else, like construction material costs gone up, the flights were gone up. So it became impactful financially on people to cover these costs to bring somebody back, right? If it was not an insurance matter, right? So the COVID impacted financially on people as well, bringing their bodies back, plus also the whole process because of flights being canceled, if that was it. If they were going to come travel here, like if they decided to come here as opposed to bringing the body there, again, restrictions on flights. They had to figure out a way to get here. Flight costs were very high, and also the time. It took more time to get here. So the whole grieving, some families would fast. They would not eat until they would have the funeral. So imagine somebody now waiting a week and not eating for a week because their son passed away, and that's what they want. I'm not eating anything until, so there was so much of this happening too that was affecting the health. Yeah, just to name a few things.
Sure. Okay. No, thank you for sharing it. So now my next question is for Satvinder-ji and Harminder-ji both. Before that, let us recognize the sponsors one more time, Tejas, if you can bring it up. What we are able to do today is because of these people and the companies and their generous support. So the Health Forum is funded in part by the City of Brampton's Advance Brampton Fund. And we are thankful to our partner organizations, PCHS Foundation and Suno Canada, as well as our sponsors who provided the matching funding, Truly Financial, Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center, Irwin Accounting and Tax Services, Blue Umbrella Financial Services, Best Ayurveda Limited, Cranes Life Sciences, Process Research or Tech, Nanak Flights, Tangentia, Dentistry on 10, and Kotak Personal Injury Law. So thank you to them for helping us put this health forum together. So Tejas, you have any question for Kamalji before I go to Harminder and Satvinder?
No questions. I just want to thank you, sir, for your very detailed and insightful presentation. The funerals and death are definitely not talked about. It's a very taboo subject, as you mentioned. And it is really heartening to see that someone from the Indo-Canadian community like yourself is in this line. You know, that sort of breaks you are performing a very important cultural bridge function, which is vital. And you know, you have to have someone from the community who understands the other side in a way and then communicates it back. And so big thank you to you for performing this function and for sharing all of these insights with us. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, and at this point I do have to get going. Unfortunately, I have to go to another meeting. So I want to thank everyone for allowing this time and this wonderful meeting. Everyone, Harminder-ji, Satvinder-ji, Tej and Vipul Bhai, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kamalji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. So Harminder-ji, you can answer first, and Satvinder-ji, then you can answer the same question. My question is, as we discussed, everybody has been at home for the last 16, 17 months, you know, together all the time. Students were studying at home, parents were working from home. Maybe we don't have sufficient resources or space, not enough laptops in the house, no privacy as well, for if I'm working, my wife is working, my 2 kids are studying. So it becomes a mess, at least in the beginning. Nobody was allowed to go out. Nobody was allowed to come in. You can't meet anybody. So basically you are in each other's face all the time, whether you like it or not. So does that also create tensions and friction within family? And instead of bringing them together, could also tear them apart? What has been your experience since you practice family law? Have you come across any such instances where too much togetherness was not good?
I think family law means when people, husband and wife, are divorced, that's probably a threshold too far to be triggered by the pandemic alone. Usually there are other issues. Maybe those issues were there all along, and now they became unmanageable due to, for example, a lot of people who had good businesses or good jobs, and they suddenly found them out of it, and they took up alcohol or the other drugs or something, or maybe got into mental health crisis and they couldn't manage it. So probably sure. I think, I'm not sure what's across the community it is, but being in the house with the other members 24/7, definitely that will lead to a lot of crises. And I can see that one, because each person needs their own private space and time and me time, as Satvinder mentioned. Difficult to get a me time when people are bumping into each other, having 4 Zoom meetings going on in the house at the same time. So yes, it definitely created, I don't think it created anything good, but how bad the things were, I'm not sure, but it definitely created a lot of challenges, especially people who lived in, say, condos. If you live in a house, at least you have a time or opportunity to step into the front yard, backyard, onto the street, even stand, walk, and sort of talk to your neighbors from a distance. Almost impossible to do those things if you live in a high-rise building in a condo. So I think the issues got probably much worse over there. You can't even get sunshine. You're sort of 24/7 locked up. It had a huge impact, and how the families are coping, I think we would be talking for the years to come. Yeah, it definitely impacted things.
सत्येंद्र जी?
हाँ जी, मैंने तो जैसे अपनी स्लाइड में भी अब यही बताने की कोशिश करी कि मानती हूँ कि काफी चेंजेस आए इस चीज से। और पहले हमारा ऑफिस का टाइम होता था, हम टाइम से इतने बजे से इतने बजे तक हम बाहर रहते थे और फिर घर में आते थे, तो कम टाइम मिलता था अपने परिवार के साथ। तो लेकिन जैसा मैंने बोला कि हमने पहले भी बहुत कुछ खोया है। उसमें सबसे ज्यादा यही रहता था कि पेरेंट्स को अपने बच्चों के साथ में टाइम नहीं मिलता था, हस्बैंड वाइफ को एक दूसरे के साथ में टाइम नहीं मिलता था। और ये एक ऐसा टाइम आ गया जिसमें बहुत ज्यादा अगर अपने अगेन है कि जितना ज्यादा हम अपने माइंड को पॉजिटिव बना के रखते हैं, तो हम इसके अंदर बहुत सारी अच्छी चीजें देख सकते हैं। कि आज जिस माँ को अपने या बाप को अपने या पेरेंट्स को एक दूसरे के साथ में टाइम नहीं मिलता था, आज उन्हें टाइम मिल पा रहा है। तो छोटी छोटी जो बच्चों की स्कूल की ब्रेक्स होती हैं, जब आप घर से काम करते हैं, तो मैंने काफी सुना है कि वो अपने आवर्स को अपने हिसाब से एडजस्ट कर पाते हैं इतने से इतने। और बच्चों की ब्रेक के साथ में माँ बाप भी अपनी अगर ब्रेक ले लें या उनकी ब्रेक के साथ में ना लें, जैसे कि अगर उन्हें मी टाइम चाहिए तो बच्चों की जो 30 मिनट और 40 मिनट की जो ब्रेक होती है, उसमें बच्चा अपने अकेली ब्रेक ले सकता है। लेकिन उसके अंदर उसके लिए ये जरूर डिजाइन कर दें कि आपने इस ब्रेक में आपने कुछ ना कुछ फिजिकल एक्टिविटी करनी है, तो वो नेचर के साथ बाहर निकल सकता है कुछ ना कुछ। तो ये जो चीजें हैं, जैसे मैंने बोला कि अगर ये तो चीजें पहले भी थी कि हम पर्सनल और प्रोफेशनल लाइफ को अगर हम सही तरीके से बैलेंस नहीं करते तो प्रॉब्लम पहले भी आ रही थी। लेकिन आज भी ये प्रॉब्लम को अगर हम इसे यहाँ सॉल्व कर दें और ये तीनों चीजों को टाइम को डिवाइड कर लें, तो हम वाकई इस प्रॉब्लम से निकल सकते हैं। और मैं मानती हूँ कि जहां पर फैसिलिटी फैसिलिटीज कम है या छोटे घर हैं या कॉन्डो हैं, लेकिन वहां पर भी बहुत अच्छी अच्छी फैसिलिटी हो सकती है कि जिसे हम कहते हैं माइंडफुलनेस की जो प्रैक्टिस है, जिसमें आप विजुलाइज कर सकते हैं अपने जो सेंसेस है ना, आप उसे कहीं पर भी कैसे भी उसे एक तरीके से डिस्कनेक्ट करना है उस आपकी स्क्रीन से या आप जो भी कुछ कर रहे हैं, और अपने आप को अपने आंखें बंद करके आप विजुलाइज करना है कुछ ना कुछ और चीज करनी है। आप विंडो के बाहर देख सकते हैं, बाहर 5-10 मिनट बाहर निकल सकते हैं, तो बहुत सारी चीजें कर सकते हैं। लेकिन उससे पहले बात और की थी कि जब सारे जाने ऑल द टाइम एक साथ में है, तो यहाँ पर एक जो चीज आती है वो है हेल्दी बाउंड्री। तो बाउंड्री तो देखिए हमें जब हम काम करें हमें वहां पर भी रखनी पड़ती है। तो हेल्दी बाउंड्री जो है वो जो है टॉपिक कभी जल्दी बात में नहीं आता है, और यही रिलेशनशिप में पर्सनल हो प्रोफेशनल हो ये सीखना बहुत जरूरी है कि जब हम इन हेल्दी बाउंड्रीज को बना लेते हैं तो हम अपने आप को भी स्पेस दे पाते हैं, अपना मी टाइम एंजॉय कर पाते हैं, और अपने परिवार को भी बहुत अच्छे से साथ में उनके टाइम भी बिता सकते हैं। तो ये बाउंड्रीज जो है वो बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हमें फिजिकली समझ में आती हैं, लेकिन जहां पर इमोशनल बाउंड्रीज की बात आती है तो थोड़ी सी दिक्कत आती है। लेकिन अगर इसे समझ लिया तो आप देखेंगे कि अपनी कम्युनिकेशन, अच्छी कम्युनिकेशन के साथ और अच्छी पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट के साथ आप बहुत अच्छा समय जो है आप बिता सकते हैं। क्योंकि हर दिन जो इतनी इनसिक्योरिटी हम देख रहे हैं और अनसर्टेनिटी देख रहे हैं, तो ये टाइम आ गया है एक दूसरे को और प्यार करने का, एक दूसरे को समझने का और एक दूसरे के साथ में रहने का।
Thank you for that, Satyendra ji. So now coming back to Harminder Dhiran. So as you just mentioned, maybe pandemic in itself is not the reason enough for divorce, but it can certainly contribute, right, to the divorce rate. Also, so that was one thing I wanted to ask you, the impact of pandemic on the divorce cases. The second thing is inheritance issues also that are happening because of the pandemic. Even the real estate and property issues, when the bread earner of the family dies, the remaining family members find it difficult to sometimes pay the mortgage, and they are forced to sell the house, and move somewhere else. So those things, have you seen a jump in those kind of cases in your practice? You're on mute.
Harminder ji, you're on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they will come to my attention because they may or may not have any legal angle to the situation. If they have some property, then they come for the state file. But these issues are there out in the community, and coming back to just a little elaboration on what I said earlier, the lack of resources in the community simply compounded the impact of the pandemic. Our community, when you're a young immigrant community, essentially you mean you have been uprooted from one culture and transplanted into another culture. And the norms, the social norms are totally different in both cultures. And the new cultural setting, they create new kind of stresses and challenges. And we haven't developed the resources, counseling resources that comes to my mind, where our community can go and sort those issues before they blow up into a big crisis. Anger management, alcohol management, addiction management, mental health issues. So all the counseling issues, those are there, but how the pandemic have impacted on the bread earners and their situation, probably I may not be the appropriate person to guess them because they may not come into my attention.
Right, sure. Well, another question on that line. See, you may not see those cases coming to you directly, but what I meant was, do you hear them from the legal fraternity, from the other lawyers, from the other law firms, people within your own profession that you talk to? So another issue which has divided families is the vaccination. I know families, where two people within the family have taken both vaccinations, and the other two refuse to take even one. They say, I don't believe in this. So it also divides families, equally split sometimes. Some people believe, forcing people to take vaccinations, those restrictions, those lockdowns are human rights issues. Other people in the family believe that they are very much necessary to keep them safe. So, I mean, this is also creating some issues within family.
I would definitely like to comment that I think presenting that a vaccination is an issue of a choice or opinion, I think is a very wrong way to frame it. Every Indian was vaccinated against polio, against cholera, and we never took an opinion. So suddenly somehow that everybody thinks that they have a PhD in medical sciences and they're entitled to an opinion whether I like the vaccination or not. That is such a non-starter. And the reason is people are getting their information from the wrong resources. They are getting information from the WhatsApp factory. That's not where to go. I do not know a single doctor, and I am very active on the social media, who is saying the vaccinations are banned. So even for us in this forum to present it as a very benign issue, or it is somebody's opinion or a human rights, it's not. There is no, in fact, today the ruling from the Human Rights Commission, there is no human rights angle to it. And I'm going to come back to the Indians. Indians are grateful. I am from a generation when I saw the people suffering from the effects of the polio, and the polio vaccination transformed the face of India. And anybody younger than me, or even in my classmate, there was one child who had a polio. He was disabled on the legs. So for we, the Indians, to stand up and say that somehow we have a PhD in our basement and I have some sort of a special expertise to give opinion on this one, that's forgive my language, that's such a piece of crap. And we must not honor them. These people they need education, but for them to be put on a pedestal that somehow they are engaged in a human rights battle, or they are engaged in some sort of a conspiracy that they are uncovering the political scientific field, ganging up on the population of the entire world, I think we must not allow them any respectability. They're very, very tiny. In fact, I was listening to the doctor yesterday. He said, yes, there are people who should not take vaccination, but I have never met them yet. So there is one person somewhere in Canada who will have a condition, or two people, but they are so rare that we should not even talk them as a genuine cases. 99.99% should take vaccination, can take vaccination, should talk to their doctors, and it is not a matter of choice. For the simple reason, when somebody is smoking cigarette, it's not their matter of choice. It's a matter of my choice also. If I'm in the restaurant, if I'm in the airplane, no, we banned the smoking from this one. Nobody's talking it as a human rights issue. Some people enjoyed the smoking. So vaccination is even more serious. Look what is happening in Alberta. Alberta has one of the lowest vaccination rates. Some counties have 45% vaccination rate. And what's happening in Alberta? They're shipping their sick people to Ontario. That's not called freedom. That's not called a matter of choice. You are dragging down the entire province. You are dragging down the entire country. So I think we need to really stand up on these issues, and it is not a matter of choice.
No, absolutely. That is exactly what I'm trying to do here. As I mentioned, we try to cover all the issues, whether they are comfortable or not comfortable, to create a dialogue. This forum is entirely aimed at providing the right answers. People who are confused, people who are maybe misled, people who are maybe getting their information from the WhatsApp university, as you said. So this is a forum that's where we discuss these issues and provide them the right answers. As I mentioned, we do get a lot of doctors on the forum. We do get the medical advisors of health as well. They all talk about vaccinations and everything. And we try to keep this dialogue going so that we can get out of this faster. So my last question is for Satwinderji. Satwinderji, as you know, I have seen some cases again as well in family where there is a tremendous amount of stress on working families, husband and wife who are working and who now have to care for elderly. And especially the COVID affected family members, while they are suffering, either they have lost their jobs, they don't have incomes anymore, or some other issues that they are struggling with themselves, while they also have to take care of their parents, their other family members, COVID affected family members. So putting a lot of stress on them as well. So how do you keep your mental balance? How do you keep yourself positive, focused when you're going through so much? And especially when last 17, 18 months, there was no light at the end of the tunnel, nobody knew when this was going to end. So how do you stay positive and survive until the tide turns?
देखिए, यही पॉजिटिव माइंडसेट की और पॉजिटिविटी की खूबसूरती है कि जब हम इतना कुछ अपने आसपास जिसे कहते हैं स्ट्रेस देख रहे हैं, और स्ट्रेस एक्चुअली अपने आप में हम सब जो हर दिन एक्चुअली उसके साथ में गुजरते हैं, और सबको स्ट्रेस होता है, लेकिन उस स्ट्रेस को ही जो मैनेज करना है वो ही पॉजिटिव थिंकिंग कह दे, या वो ही अच्छी मेंटल हेल्थ है। और हम ये सब जानते हैं कि हम सब बहुत बिजी हैं, और उसी बिजी टाइम में से, स्केड्यूल में से ही तो थोड़ा सा टाइम जो है वो निकालना है जिसमें हम अपनी मेंटल हेल्थ को टाइम दे सकें। और हम सब जानते हैं, और ये भी हम कहते हैं कि कितना भी अंधेरा हो, और वहां पर अगर एक छोटा सा दिया जब जला देते हैं तो उससे भी रोशनी आ जाती है। तो हम ये सब इन चीजों को मानते हैं, और इसीलिए मैंने सेल्फ कंपैशन शब्द को यूज किया था कि थोड़ा सा काइंड अपने लिए जब होते हैं तो हम अपना थोड़ा ध्यान रखते हैं। जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वो तो हमें सॉर्टेड आउट करनी पड़ेगी, लेकिन उसके लिए हमें हिम्मत आ जाती है ये सेल्फ कंपैशन की प्रैक्टिस करने से, थोड़ी सी माइंडफुलनेस की प्रैक्टिस करने से। हरमिंदर जी ने जब बहुत अच्छी बात की कि पहले मैंने कभी फील नहीं किया था या महसूस नहीं किया था कि वॉकिंग भी अपने आप में इतनी अच्छी चीज है, तो अब वो वॉकिंग करने लगे तो उनमें वो दिखाई देने लगा। तो उसी तरीके से है, जब हम इसकी प्रैक्टिस शुरू करते हैं ना, पॉजिटिविटी की, पॉजिटिव अफर्मेशन जो मैं बोल रही थी, ताकतवर शब्द, बहुत कुछ है आसे पासे करने को, या बहुत कुछ जो है वो स्ट्रेस देगा, लेकिन हम जब स्ट्रेस समझेंगे, हाँ, तो काम तो करना पड़ेगा। उसकी लिस्ट बनाते हैं, जैसे हम कहते हैं टू डू लिस्ट बनाएं, और फिर हम कहते हैं ओके, धीरे धीरे एक एक चीज को हमने सॉर्ट आउट करना है। हम सब कुछ एक साथ इकट्ठे नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम एकजुट मिलकर, यस, अपनी एनर्जी एक दूसरे के साथ में इकट्ठी करके वो हर एक काम को बहुत आराम से एक एक करके ठीक कर सकते हैं। इतनी ताकत जो है वो पॉजिटिविटी के अंदर होती है। और मेंटल हेल्थ जो है वो ये नहीं कहती कि आपको बहुत कुछ करना है, वो ये कहती है स्टार्ट फ्रॉम अ 2 मिनट और 1 मिनट। और यही माइंडफुलनेस टेक्निक्स की ताकत है, जिसमें हम कहते हैं कि डीप ब्रीदिंग अपने आप को एहसास दिलाती है कि देखिए आप आज में रहें, और ये जो मोमेंट है ये सबसे ज्यादा पावरफुल है। तो ये माइंडफुलनेस प्रैक्टिस करने से आपके अंदर ताकत आती है, और आप हर प्रॉब्लम्स जो हैं उससे फेस करने के लिए आप रेडी हो जाते हैं। तो चाहे किसी भी टाइप का स्ट्रेस हो, स्ट्रेस ही जो है वो एंजाइटी क्रिएट करता है, और एंजाइटी जो है वो एक अपने आप में एक नेचुरल अलार्म है। मैं हमेशा अपने हर क्लाइंट से कहती हूँ कि ये सारे जो इमोशंस हैं ये एक्चुअली हमें कुछ सिखाने आए हैं। मैं बोलती हूँ सबको कि नेगेटिव थॉट्स जो हैं अगर ये ना होते हमारी लाइफ में तो हमें पॉजिटिविटी फील ही ना होती, और हम फील कर भी ना पाते। हम कहते हैं ना कि सुख को फील करने के लिए और महसूस करने के लिए वो दुख का पीरियड जब आता है ना, तब हमें एहसास होता है कि सुख क्या चीज है। तो नेगेटिविटी जो है एंजाइटी बन के आती है, स्ट्रेस बन के आती है, तो एंजाइटी को नेचुरल अलार्म की तरह लें और फिर देखें कि ओके करना क्या क्या है, उसे सुनना है। तो जैसे मैं बोल रही थी कि जर्नलिंग जो है वो बहुत ही अच्छा टूल है। आप रिफ्लेक्ट करते हैं ओके क्या क्या चीजें मुझे तंग कर रही हैं, क्योंकि आपकी एंजाइटी आपको कुछ कह रही है, बस आपने उसे सुनना है। और सुनने के लिए आपको डीप ब्रीदिंग माइंडफुलनेस प्रैक्टिस करनी होगी, जर्नलिंग करनी होगी, तो आप देखेंगे कि आप सारी चीजें सॉर्ट आउट कर सकते हैं। और हम सब में वो ताकत है, हम ह्यूमन बीइंग, हम इतनी भीड़ में से निकल निकल के आए हैं, हम सब ने एक्सपीरियंस किया है, हम सबकी एज आती है, लेकिन आप छोटे बच्चे को भी देखें, वो भी छोटी छोटी चीजों से कितना कुछ सीखता है, और फिर से वो दूसरे दिन से स्कूल पे जाता है, फिर से वो काम करता है। तो हम बने ही हैं, हमारे में वो अंदरूनी जो ताकत है वो है, बस हमने एक दूसरे के साथ में रहकर एक दूसरे को हमने जगाना है। तो इसी के साथ थैंक यू वेरी मच ये क्वेश्चन पूछने के लिए।
Thank you, very well said as well. Tejas, you want to ask anything to Harminder ji or Satwinder ji?
No. I just want to say thanks to both. Like you have this discussion was a very sobering discussion today. It's a topic we don't usually discuss in the Indo-Canadian community. So thank you to both of you for bringing your perspectives to this topic. And Satwinder ji, आपको बहुत धन्यवाद कि हिंदी में बात करके आपने जो बहुत important message है इसको और फैलाने के लिए आपने आपकी कोशिश की है, तो उसके लिए बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, sure. So before we close, at the cost of being repetitive, let us thank our sponsors for the last time. Today's Health Forum, not just today's session, but the entire Health Forum is funded in part by the City of Brampton's Advance Brampton Fund. We are thankful to our partner organizations, PCHS Foundation and Suno Canada. And the matching funding for this Health Forum, all 12 sessions, has been provided by Dentistry on 10, Dr. Rina Kotecha, Kotak Personal Injury Law, Tangentia, Nanak Flights, Process Research or Tech, Best Ayurveda Limited, Cranes Life Sciences, Blue Umbrella Financial Services, Irwin Accounting and Tax Services, Lotus Funeral and Cremation Center, and Truly Financial. So this was the session number 8. We'll be back next week with a different topic on session number 9. And I will continue to provide you the resources available from different avenues, from speakers, from city resources, healthcare resources, and also continue to address some uncomfortable questions as well, which need to be discussed, which needs to be debated. Some misinformation needs to be cleared, and the right amount of information has to be provided to the community and beyond for the betterment of all. So thank you to all our speakers, to all the people that are watching right now on Facebook Live, on Zoom, and we will soon be posting this edited video on all social media, through WhatsApp, through LinkedIn, through Twitter, and also post it on our website as well. So thank you. The Health Forum session is now closed.